Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or. Sorry guys, I'm not able to do a face cam this time. Well, actually, it's not really a face cam. It's more like a V cam, I guess. Yeah, I can't do a V cam this time, so you're just gonna have to listen to the same old football clips in the background and then hearing me yap over it, probably with like some lo-fi music in the back. But anyways, here we are, updated Ballon d'Or power rankings for you men that are new here or didn't watch the last vid I did about the Ballon d'Ors. Let me give you a quick overview. This is similar to amenyah's format where each month we'll be ranking players from 1 to 15 based on the games that I watched. If a player has a world-class performance, like an outstanding, like you play like one of the best in your position, that's 2 points. If a player has like a great game, like a stand-up performance, but you know, not to that world-class level, they get 1 point. If they have a good game, but if they have just a good game but also have a goal on top of that, then they get 0.5 points. And then based on that list, we organize the players based on who has the most points for that month. And then based on that list, we add it to our culminative list where first place gets 11 points, second place gets 10 points, all the way to 10th place getting 2 points, and 11th to 15th, or like the 5 honorable mentions, gets 1 point each. Now here's the thing, I've seen the comments on my last vid, or at least like one comment, you know who you are, that people were kind of like doubting my list. This time I've come with receipts. I have cited the games where I thought these guys had incredible performances. So starting at 15th with 3 points, and just for the record, we've had 14 players that had got 3 points this month. And so when players are tied, now that's based on like who I thought faced a tougher competition or who I thought like had the more important fixtures or had the better matches. So of those 14 players, we were only able to fit in 6 in the list, 10 to 15th. So starting at 15th is Alex Iwobi. Like I said, how is my man a left winger playing like Ballon d'Or Rodri? The through balls he was playing in, like this guy, the way this guy was dictating games from deep, it was insane. More specifically, he gets 3 points, 2 points from the one world-class performance against Mozambique, where I thought either him or Lookman, you could say, was man of the match that game, and a great performance against Algeria. Morocco, he was, not really there. But the thing with this list is that we only account for like the standout performances, like the peaks in the season, which is like what I think the Ballon d'Or is. Also, this isn't inherently like a final Ballon d'Or list. This is going to be combined with our big games ranking in June once the season is over, as well as the accolades ranking once all the awards are given out. So yeah, Alex Iwobi 15th. Number 14th is, welcome back, Ousmane Dembele. The thing with Dembele is that I think he's doing like a load management thing. For any of you guys that watch basketball, you would know that like because how injury prone certain players are nowadays. In the NBA, certain players like sit out for like 20-30 games a season and only play in like the important games, the games that will help them like win the MVP or help their teams go to the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard does it, Joel Embiid does it, and even nowadays we're seeing it in football with Ousmane Dembele. He had a very slow start to the season, but now once the new year hits, this guy is back to Ballon d'Or levels. We saw the game against, I think it was Lille, where my man scored that Steph Curry goal. Yes, like I said, world class against Lille, great against Paris FC. I didn't think he had a standout performance against Sporting. I thought the next player I have on this list, Desiree Doué, I thought he was better this month, especially like I said in the Champions League against Sporting. I'd say he had 3 great games this season against Paris FC, Lille, and Sporting. So basically same as Dembele, except like he has like another game on top of that. And above him is Lamine Yamal. I don't think it's crazy to say that Lamine Yamal has now, after this month, I should say, he has entered himself in Ballon d'Or conversations, because September, October, he had a really rough start. November, he went nuclear. December, he was pretty good. And this season, he was great as well. Obviously, against Real Sociedad, Barcelona don't win the match. But if you watch the game and if you're not like watching the stats, Lamine Yamal, he was creating bare chances for them. He was so threatening for Barca, and they just got unfortunate that most of like the chances he created ended up being offside just by like fine margins. And I think he had like 8, or if you check like the stats, he had like 8 dribbles out of 8 out of 12 dribbles completed. That was mad. Number 11, Rafinha. This time around, it was actually the Super Cup, where I'd say you could argue that he was man of the match. If not him, then probably someone else will be on this list. And he was great. So world-class performance in the Super Cup, and also he was great against Slavia Prague. And number 10, we go all the way to not a top 5 league actually, who are outside the top 5 leagues because of AFCON. In 10th place, let me welcome Sadio Mane. Now, I've been making the case that I think Calvin Bassey was player of the tournament. Before the final, I thought he was the player of the tournament. The performances he put in the knockout stage against Mozambique, against Algeria, I thought he was Nigeria's best player against in their semi-final against Morocco. The way this guy was basically moving like prime Maldini. But I really thought about it, yeah. Senegal, after Morocco's penalty, after the penalty got awarded, they were willing to forfeit the match, take the 3-0 loss. Even the coach was going to the locker room, the whole team went to the locker room, the assistant coaches, the medical staff, the water boys, the dinner ladies, everyone and their mama was going to the locker room except Sadio Mane. This guy stood firm. He said, yo, we're gonna play out this match like men. If we're gonna lose, we lose. At least the world will see the corruption that's going on. And they ended up winning that, John. So quite literally, they don't win the AFCON if Sadio Mane doesn't put his foot on the ground and say, we are going to play this final. This is arguably without a doubt, the most iconic moment of his career. And after that final, I don't know if I've said it, but for me, Sadio Mane has overtaken Salah in all-time rankings. I'm not talking about just African legacy. African legacy, he surpassed Salah a long time ago when he patted Salah on the head like a good boy in the 2022 AFCON final, I believe it was. But for me, the disparity between Sadio Mane and Mo Salah in terms of like international legacy is so big, and combine that with like him being the better player for Liverpool in the seasons we won the Champions League and Premier League. Also, Mane being a much better player in the Champions League. I think when you combine all that together, Sadio Mane is greater in general than Mohamed Salah all time. Okay, 7, 8, and 9 are all tied for 3.5 points. At 9th, we have Lautaro Martinez. Now, I saw amenyah's list from December, and he said that Lautaro should have gotten in because Inter were having a good December. But it was more of like everyone was playing good. There wasn't like a single standout player. But for Lautaro, he has a world-class performance against Ballon. He was great against Atlanta, and he has a good performance. He grabs like the goal in the 1-0 win against Udinese. 8 is another AFCON player, Amenyah. Not only was this wasn't only just his AFCON performances, but also the Premier League performances. He was world-class against Cameroon. I believe that was a group stage match. Yes, that was a group stage match. He was great against Man City in their 2-0 win over them, and he was good against Burkina Faso. 7th, we have Kylian Mbappe. And now that I look at it, I'm pretty sure Mbappe has been in the top 15 every single month. He was first in September and October. He was 8th in November. He was top 15 in December, and now he's 7th in January. I was going to put him at 4 points. I was going to put the Super Cup performance at great, but I was talking it over with my homeboy, and he said Mbappe only came on for like the last 10 minutes of the game. But even though it was like 10 minutes, he still put on like, he was one of Real Madrid's most threatening players in that match. He was creating so many chances. He was so threatening, especially that chance he had created for Carreras when he inevitably passed it straight into Juan Garcia. So I put that in as a good performance. I know he didn't grab a goal, but I thought that performance was great, if not world class. But because he doesn't play for that long, I kind of gave like some leeway to that. So yeah, good in the Super Cup, great against Levante, and world class against Monaco. Also, another thing, I stopped watching games once a team is leading by 3 goals, because realistically, what's the point? I think if a team is leading by 3 goals, that 99 times out of 100 should kill off the match. And that's the same thing with like Mbappe against Monaco. They beat them like 6-1, but even for like those first 3 goals, not 3 goals or 4 goals, because I think it was 4-1 when they first started leading by 3. Yes, Mbappe was still like world class in like those minutes leading up to the 4th goal. So yeah, that's that. 6th to 3rd all have 4 points. At 6th, we have Rayon Cherki. Now, I know he dropped a stinker in the Manchester derby, and in the big games he hasn't really been performing well, but I thought he was world class against Nottingham Forest. He was great against Brighton and Sunderland. It was a 0-0 fixture, but I thought like how threatening he was, how many chances he was creating. If you were just watching the game, you just know like how silky Cherki was moving in those matches. 5th, yet another AFCON brother, Ademola Lookman. Entering the AFCON knockout stages, I thought the 3 candidates for player of the tournament as of then were Ademola Lookman, and Brahim Diaz. Lookman, up until like probably I'd say the quarterfinals, was Nigeria's best player. He was world class against Tunisia, group stage game, and also Mozambique. So he gets 2 points from each match there. 4th place, Vinicius Jr. It's been a while. I think Vinny is back, honestly, and I've never really turned my back on him. Like I said, bro, if I'm being honest, if you guys know me, you know I'm a Vinicius Jr. hater. And like for like those 3 months when Xabi Alonso was at Real Madrid, I was in support of Vinny, just to push the agenda that Xabi Alonso should be sacked. Obviously he's sacked now, and he's probably going to sign with Liverpool. Thank God for that. So now I can go back to hating Vinny, but on some real agenda aside, this guy was probably one of the best players of January. Obviously in the Super Cup final, if Real Madrid win that game, then Vinny would have been undoubtedly man of the match. And also the game against Monaco, he was also world class there. And third is Calvin Bassey. This is not even the craziest name on this list. Calvin Bassey, I think anyone that watched AFCON can agree like how incredible he was. He was world class against Morocco, the semi-finals. I was really, because of him, I was really hoping Nigeria could win. I really thought Nigeria was going to win it all. But Osimhen, Lookman, and Iwobi just decided to, ghost that match. He was also great against Mozambique and against Algeria. So basically, he gets points for all 3 games in the knockout stage, which is just mental. And second place, I can't even fathom the name I have at second place. And I rewatched the games and I said, raw, you know what? This guy deserves it because it's a Premier League player. Igor Thiago. Let me explain. Against Everton, he grabs a hat-trick. That's a world-class performance. Against Sunderland, he grabs a brace. Not only that, his overall play, like his link-up play, his hold-up play, running the channels, his overall striking, his overall forward play, that was just a complete performance. He gets a world-class performance for that. Against Bournemouth, he doesn't score, but that own goal is caused by his shot. So I'm counting that as a goal. If you want to cry in the comments. So, and overall, just like the Sunderland game, his overall forward performance, it was just a complete performance by him. So he gets a good game from that. 4.5. And number 1 is Michael Elise. World class against Wolfsburg. USG, world class performance. And Leipzig, it was great. Big up to Elise. And that's my list for January. Now, the updated list, top 15, we have 2 new additions. Starting at 15th with 9 points is Calvin Bassey. 14th at 10 points, Gabriel Magalhaes. Also, another thing I forgot to mention, for the final culminative list, if 2 players are tied on points, then I go based on whoever was better in recent times, in the recent month. So, for example, Igor Thiago, he finished second. Gabriel wasn't even on the list. So Igor Thiago, 13th with 10 points. Declan Rice dropping a place at 12th with 11 points. Doku with 12 points at 11th. Phil Foden and Saka, both basically Saka, Foden, Doku, Rice, they all drop a place. And Numesh as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention him at 16, 15, and 13 points. Anyways, I know I'm chatting a lot of shit, but you guys can see on the screen. 7th, Rayon Cherki. This guy just was a new addition to the list last month at 12th, and now he's already in the top 10. That's a madness. 6th is Caicedo with 17. 5th, also with 17th, Lamine Yamal. 4th is Harry Kane. And the top 3, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new number 1 that isn't Mbappe or Haaland. Haaland, he has 31 points at 3rd. At 2nd is Mbappe with 32, but also tied on points with Mbappe as the 1st place, a new front runner for, I guess, the Stricy Dior. Not really Stricy Dior. You might know, Consistency Dior, the new front runner. At number 1, Michael Elise with 32 points. I hope you guys enjoyed this vid, and with that said,